They're going to be okay. Joe, I need frat, precision, and
I'm going to have to
development.
I'm going to have to get out the highlighter here, Joe. You might have an adversary on this one. Joe, John, you're not saying where you fall down.
Well, I'm just reading it and trying to, put it all together in my mind.
Okay, I don't think.
Let's just save it. I may or may not have a point here. You can embarrass me live in front of the millions of listeners.
There's nothing embarrassing. It's just very telling. That's my clue. This is a very telling story.
All right. So this particular deal probably might not be bad, but it's going to lead to something. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. That would be part of it.
You know what? I'm going to be patient.
Yeah. Why
wait.
you just calm down?
I'm just going to calm way down here. Way down. But I got to tell you, I'm very excited for this one.
Wow.
Good stuff, Preebs.
Gotta tell you, my highlighter is actually going dry here, Joe. I'm using it so much.
Is that some kind of euphemism there, Kenny? Or
went dry years ago.
All I got's the memory. When it had ink.
That was funny.
Kenny, I need a Maple Grove out of you today.
I can do that.
Kenny, you hit a Carol K thing yesterday, huh?
I didn't respond to you because I'm embarrassed. I don't remember her mention of her at all in that documentary.
Yeah, she was the bass player for a long time.
I think I've seen it twice. And what I learned yesterday is she does not like the term the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
And I started following her on Facebook, and she's a fun, interesting follow.
Isn't she? She's a really interesting person.
What documentary?
The Wrecking Crew.
The Wrecking Crew, I discovered the lady bass player who is just a badass musician.
She did most of the Beach Boys stuff.
Yep. Tons.
That's what I want to ask her. I'm tempted to buy her book just so I can find out what it was like working with Brian, because evidently Brian would know what he wanted from his bass player. So she didn't have a lot of opportunities to branch out and make it interesting, or put her own. Don't distract me. I'm doing some highlighting here. Never mind that.
I know. I was reading the same story when I brought it up. Maybe I should read the story.
John, you better be on my side on this.
Oh, I see. Now we're picking sides.
This might be about an hour and 10 or hour and 15 minutes.
GLers are going to hate me.
I'm pretty much ready to go.
Well, I am too. All you got to do is say it.
All right.
They already do, so that's not a big stretch.
You guys are never on my side, Kenny. Why should I be on your side on this?
Oh, well, okay. So
I see how it is.
Fratelloni's.
Joe?
Yeah.
We're rolling.
Fratelloni's chart. Just a minute. This thing
One moment, please.
Falling down.
Oh, you almost said a naughty word.
I didn't.
I'm not done show prepping here. Let's
Fratelloni's
Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1259, March 5th, 2024. This was the day of the earliest 70-degree temperature on record. That happened in 2000, but of course that was eclipsed 2 days ago on Sunday. So there's a new date for the earliest 70 in Feb, and that would be March 3rd, which we'll note next year. And it was 14 below on this day in 1960, and I can tell you those early 60s were very chilly.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Haidt in the newsroom, and of course, the Rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
As the Grand Poobah, I'm sure you already know that the vernal equinox coming on March 19 is when the number of hours of daylight surpasses the hours of nighttime darkness, signaling the beginning of summer for 21sters. But what you might not know is that over the past weekend, according to the Weather Underground website, The number of hours of visible daylight surpassed 12 hours, giving all 21sters an even earlier ray of sunlight hope. Add those 2 extra weeks of visible light to the same in the fall, and you have a month more visible daylight than nightlight when the calendar.
Huh?
But Mike, just a bit outside Phoenix for now. And P.S., don't give me that worn-out Minnesota refrain. Yeah, it's nice now, but we're going to pay for it later. Just take it for what it is and enjoy it. I will note that it was as recently as 2018, we had about, 26, 27 inches of snow in April. Of course, winters are done, so that won't be a problem.
Do you guys realize that this weekend is already daylight savings?
Yeah, is that early?
I thought so as well, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. That's where we spring forward, Joe.
No, spring ahead.
Spring ahead.
Spring ahead.
Turn the clock ahead.
Right. Turn the clocks
Should
back.
we take a white privilege test today? I have the test.
Oh, boy.
Well, we might get to it. We might take a white privilege test.
Do you have to prepare? I mean, do you have to
I hope
study for it?
Pass.
No, I think just being white is our prep.
Okay.
Yeah. I just want to get a few emails of old business out of the way. Chris writes, "Hail the Flashlight King."
Hail you.
I was listening to a recent podcast in which you and the boys were discussing Senator Jen McEwen, DFL. She's up Duluth way, but she's from Carbondale, Illinois. And her proposed legislation attempting to outlaw the use of lead shot used by the widely popular Minnesota State High School Clay Target League. Last night, a local television news crew interviewed Senator McEwen regarding her proposal, pointing out the fact that doing so would nearly double the cost for those participating. Senator McEwen, ever the all-knowing legislator, couched her opposition to lead shot from the position that no amount of exposure to lead can be good for our frail youth. Senator McEwen offered no scientific evidence that participating in trap leagues presents any danger to the boys and girls participating. But there was a bit of evidence as to her motive lurking in the background of her office. When Senator McEwen began to spout her tripe about the dangers of lead, I paused the broadcast. He may have seen a Duluth newscast. I paused the broadcast to read a framed document sitting behind her in her office. It was a priceless peek into the mindset of the existing ruling class currently at the state capitol. It read, "If you give me a fish, you have fed me for a day. If you teach me to fish, then you have fed me until the river is contaminated or the shoreline seized for development. But if you teach me to organize, then whatever the challenge, I can join together with my peers and we will fashion our own solution."
It's a long saying.
Wow. I was nearly
What the
brought to
heck?
tears by this wonderful, witty bit of prose, not for the value of what it had to say, but for the fact we've turned over control of the state political leadership to small-minded micromanagers, the likes of Senator McEwen, who apparently identifies as a medical doctor with her proselytizing about the dangers of lead, always pushing back from the land of rocks and cows. Chris Johnson. Isn't that an amazing sign she has in her office? If you give me a fish, you have fed me. If you teach me to fish, you have fed me until the river is contaminated or the shoreline seized for development. But if you teach me to organize, then whatever the challenge, I can join together with my peers and we will fashion our own solution. Okay, Senator, thank you. And my idea on the homeless, Willard Anger weighs in, and it says, "I suspect you will be excoriated by GLers for your proposal to let the homeless clan have their way. I will not do so, as I have previously given this some thought, but I will say this, it won't work. There are too many moving parts. How to get supplies, security, healthcare, etc. However, the meat of the problem with your proposal is this. You would be giving a pass to a group of people who have no regard for law and order or infrastructure to make some semblance of law and order on their own. Given the amount of drug addiction or mental illness among this population, I do not foresee a good outcome. It would just be a pocket of anarchy amid civilization, a little bit like the Minneapolis City Council. Any idea like this might work, but you'd have to go whole hog. And setting up an area somewhere and providing the basics, and he doesn't see anyone agreeing to that, and he's probably right. I have ideas. Sometimes they stick, sometimes they don't.
I thought about this yesterday, and all I could remember communes.
Yes.
That's kind of what I was thinking of, only perhaps there wasn't that much of a drug element, or perhaps there was in communes.
What would you say your batting average is with your ideas?
Oh boy, I'd like to give myself 50%, but that's probably optimistic.
I think so.
Say, John brought up communes, and it reminded me, we had a commune a few miles north of where I live now in the early 70s called the Rhubarb Farm. And now, ironically, it's no longer a commune, but the county tax assessor lives there.
Really?
So if you want to put those two together, see what
Purely coincidental.
see what happens with communes.
Was it a hippie place?
Hippie farm, yeah, hippie farm.
The
we call
book
it.
I'm reading has at its core a hippie farm in Denmark.
Doesn't it paint a really dirty, as in dirt and grime and gross in the mind's eye? Like, take a shower, go down to the creek.
To quote the great Patrick Royce, I like hygiene.
Yeah. Maybe somebody could donate some deodorant.
Peaky Blinders to me was one of the great works ever offered on television. And he won't watch it because he doesn't like the lack of hygiene.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I can point out worse, but he loves Slow Horses, in which the lead character, Gary Oldman, playing Jackson Lamb, is the least hygienic person on earth.
I see.
But that's part of the plot. Nevertheless, can we talk about money?
Sure.
May we talk about money? There's a number of examples, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. Where to begin?
The light rail could be coming to new communities in the metro, but at a cost. The Metropolitan Council wants to extend the Blue Line, which runs between the Mall of America and Target Field. By the way, don't you have some material regarding the Blue Line?
Thank you for
The Green
reminding
Line
me.
is St. Paul to Target Field. The Blue Line is Target Field to the Mall of America. And you were telling me off air that you had some correspondence with a listener who traveled the Blue Line and had observations.
Not a listener, but I saw this posted on social media. A woman and her husband took the Blue Line from the Mall of America downtown, and they made some observations.
All right.
Bear with me while I find it.
Okay. Well, then I'll continue reading. The proposed Blue Line route would head north another 13 miles past Brooklyn Park. The council said it would help boost ridership and connect communities that need access to public transit. I'm only reading this because one of the great quotes in the world is coming up. Right now, the project is expected to cost between $2.9 billion and $3.2 billion. But let me add, in my own words, that this is the Met Council, which has screwed up every projection they've ever made.
Yeah, that's the starting block.
Right. That means it would likely cost more than the controversial Southwest Light Rail project between Minneapolis and Eden Prairie, which was unneeded. That project remains still in the works after years of delays and cost overruns. And remember, this is all brought to you by unelected people.
Mm-hmm.
Planners argue that this price tag is consistent with national trends for similar projects, but also argued there is a qualitative benefit as well. Let me stop right there. Planners argue that this price tag is consistent with national trends. So in other words, we're supposed to be happy with the fact that this gets screwed up everywhere.
Right.
So we're
all in the same boat.
We're just in line to suffer the same punishment. Here's the quote of the year.
I'm ready for you.
Ridership isn't just about the number of people riding. Ridership isn't just about the number of people riding. It's also about who we are serving. And I guess I would add parenthetically, even if they don't ride on it.
Right.
This is a generational equity investment in communities of color that have historically been underinvested in. I'm not buying this. Hennepin County Commissioner Irene Fernando said, it will guarantee premium transit service in communities of color who rely on transit every day to get to work. And then I'll add, except if they don't use it. They use it to get to work, school, healthcare, family, and opportunities. Sure. These communities have experienced a history of underinvestment and racial disparities stemming from generations of systemic racism. Okay.
Okay.
They deserve the same level of investment as others benefiting from light rail investments in our region. The project estimates for ridership and cost will still need to undergo the process of being reviewed. Environmental studies are also still in the future as well, should it move forward. Well, it should not move forward. But one thing elected people have forgotten is that oftentimes it displays great and needed leadership to not spend money. St. Paul is going through this with a proposed streetcar down 7th Street and rebuilding the bridge over the river to get to the airport.
That's nice.
There is no clamor for this. There is no demand for this.
But Joe, ridership isn't about the number of riders.
And Rafael Ortega would be the kingpin on this, and I've begged him. I said, Rafael, oftentimes not spending money displays great leadership. This is a forgotten virtue in our elected officials.
How'd that go? What do you say?
I wrote a column about it. He never responded.
Oh.
But spending money is not always the way to go. And here is a blue line extension that, again, based on the Met Council, could cost up to $3.2 billion. Well, because it's the Met Council, you should not believe that figure. We don't know what the figure would be, but we're supposed to swallow this preposterous nonsense that ridership isn't just about the number of people riding.
It's not.
It's about us demonstrating that we're going to put it there, and I guess hope you ride it.
My husband and I rode the LRT from MOA to Minneapolis to St. Paul, then back the same route for a hockey game on the 27th. OMG. The ride from Minneapolis to St. Paul had an unbelievable amount of trash in the car that we had to kick out of the way so as not to trip and fall, and a space to place our feet to sit, people running around, smoking cigarettes.
Slow down.
Walking up and down the aisle. It's kind of a long one.
Well, slow down.
And then a group sat together and were opening up a foil-wrapped substance, which we found out later from a police officer was actually fentanyl in the car that we rode on. While on that ride, I started texting the emergency number posted on the wall of the car that we were in. By the time we were at our stop, there was a police officer that had stopped and followed us off. He walked and talked with us and told us the drug was fentanyl. He said it goes on constantly and that the St. Paul transit is really bad, constantly. He also told us never to ride the center cars, always ride the first car or the last car. He also told us to complain about this to anyone we can get this because we need to get this bleeping stuff under control. After the game, we had to wait at the nearest transit station in St. Paul, again for around 20 minutes, for the next train to Minneapolis. The temps were in the single digits, and finding a shelter that wasn't filled with trash, heat lamps that were not working properly, and people pacing up and down the platform yelling and dealing was horrifying. When the train got to our stop, we entered the first car and noticed the insanity going on in the middle cars, as the officer had mentioned. Got to the next stop for our transfer to Minneapolis, and there was an open car with a woman pushing trash out of the car to the outside to clear a way to get in. It was awful and unbelievable. We walked up and noted that we had had a 48-minute wait. We walked down the platform to find a shelter and spoke with a kind man who told us about the stop. He told us, be careful because there were homeless, drug-induced people always there, either waiting to ride or just hanging out. As we looked for a sheltered spot because they were all filled, we saw a small piece of garbage in the corner of one shelter in flames. We eventually shared a shelter with a guy that worked at MSP. He filled us in on things that with the surrounding people and how to be safe and not to look vulnerable, but to appear confident that you could take a problem person down if needed to. That's when I felt absolutely terrified. When we eventually...
How much longer?
Just one more paragraph. When we eventually boarded the first car to Minneapolis, we once again noted the middle cars and the chaos. Homeless people sleeping under coverings and people passed out. I was relieved when we made our connection and on our way back to the MOA in a clean car, feeling much safer with very few passengers. We've ridden this before since it started operating to many events from Minneapolis and St. Paul, but I will never again get on the LRT, and I hope that you do the same.
Two things. The people who brought us light rail were incapable of reading their own tea leaves. By that, I mean the left has successfully gone a long way to destroying urban America. And they're not capable of acknowledging that their policies are destructive. So thus you get light rail and the consequences of it almost immediately becoming just another entitlement. People don't pay, they treat it poorly, there's no proprietorship, there's criminal activity. All of these brought to you by the mystery and the way the mystery has failed to lead urban America. The second point, I thought a little teeny bit of fentanyl was deadly. I guess I don't understand fentanyl use.
Yeah.
If that was fentanyl in the silver foil, I would have gotten immediately off the train. I wouldn't want to have been exposed to any fentanyl. So I guess I don't understand how fentanyl works, but I've been told and I've read endlessly that small amounts of it are deadly.
It's actually smoked a lot with marijuana mixed in, and you don't die from it. It's basically, it's somewhat of an urban myth, the thing, if you touch it, you're going to die.
I'm not sure it is. The cops are carrying.
Well, that's called an abundance of caution. John's right.
Yeah.
And it's smoked, and it's also through a needle,
Yeah,
you
and it's mixed with other drugs.
There's all sorts of ways of taking that. The problem with fentanyl, if you're a user, is you never know how potent your dose is. It's like buying LSD. You just don't know until you try it.
Well, be that as it may, and in any event, light rail is a mess. It was fated to be a mess, but the people who brought it to us, if they saw that, certainly can't admit to having seen that.
Right.
These are their policies, and they're wrong, and we're stuck with them. And now they want to do it again, extend it to the north. And the figures you read will all be wrong, and they're all brought to you by unelected people. And it will cost you
Met
a fortune.
Council, Met Council pushing this heavily. Met Council should have to take the train every single day for as long as they're on the Met Council. Every day, no matter what, get on the train. Every day. Every day.
Not only Met Council, both mayors and city councils. They should not be allowed to own a car. They must ride the light rail.
And I'm talking unannounced, with no protection, no photographers, no press.
Yeah.
Live up to what you've pushed down everybody's throat.
Should we take a white privilege test today?
It's just they're just so intent on blowing S-loads of money for complete nonsense that turns to shit. And this has turned to shit.
Remember, good leadership used to be, there had to be a time in this country when good leadership was a public figure deciding we can't afford to spend this money. We should not spend this money. That was good leadership. We don't have that anymore.
Joe, the gal that wrote that letter that Chris read, that's a little different perspective than the one we got a few weeks ago when Met Council members actually did ride on the train for a press opportunity.
Surrounded by law enforcement.
And cameras and reporters. And yeah.
You might not find this problem in Sioux Falls.
Probably not.
Minnesota business owners are paying too much in taxes. I'm afraid we're only going to be paying more. You don't have to take my word for it. The Tax Foundation has just released its state business tax climate index, and Minnesota is near the bottom. We're the 45th worst tax climate. Well, let's go for the record. Let's be the 50th.
Yeah, if we're going to be bad, let's be really bad.
Let's be all the way bad. There's 5 states that are beating us to be bad.
We got work to do.
When you expand or relocate your business to Sioux Falls, you're going to be basking in the second best tax climate in the nation. And they're probably trying to be the first best tax climate in the nation. That's one reason, no matter what size business you own, maybe you're thinking this year it's time to move or time to expand. You can increase your profits in Sioux Falls. They've got the proof at SiouxFallsDevelopment.com. That's one word. SiouxFallsDevelopment.com. And then you might as well, when you're there, enjoy safer streets, award-winning schools, short commutes, a growing downtown, a pro-business attitude. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Are all the attractive reasons to make your move, and they've got a motivated workforce ready to go. Escape the high taxes of Minnesota. I'm sorry to see you go. I will miss you, but I wouldn't blame you in a New York minute. Escape the high taxes of Minnesota by planning your expansion or relocation to Sioux Falls. Check out SiouxFallsDevelopment.com.
Oops, sorry. All right. So clean is. I am ready whenever.
I'm ready.
You...
Do we have a computer today?
Yeah, should be working. I tested it earlier.
Yeah.
Why don't you fire a button, see if she's working?
Fire.
This guy wears.
There you go. You ready, Ken?
Hold on, I'm looking something up.
Hold on.
John, did you see Sonny Gray's already hurt?
No, seriously?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I don't think it's serious, but I think
Buxton hurt yet?
No. Well, he's barely played.
That's
Hey,
hurt. Yeah.
you know that the state already gave back the Upper Sioux Agency, right? You're familiar with that story?
Mhm.
And the park did close.
Mhm.
It's closed to the public. Okay. I just wanted to arm you with the shut down 2 weeks ago, actually. Interesting. What did you want from
Maple
me,
Grove.
Chris? All right, I'm ready.
Rolling.
This guy wears many hats, just not indoors. Joe Souchere.
President's Day is, it's over, but the President's Sale still in full swing at Maple Grove Lock and Safe for Liberty Safes. And we still have time to save up to $380 on the Liberty USA 48 and 50 models. Both feature level 3 security with 60 minutes of fire protection. That's at 1,200 degrees. That's pretty good for an hour there. And the sale also includes the power accessory kit bundle. You can check out all the details. They pop up right away when you click on MapleGroveLockandSafe.com. The combination of Liberty Safe and Maple Grove Lock and Safe, that means you're going to go home a happy customer, knowing that you got the best safe for your money from, let's face it, the state's best safe showroom. Rich, he's the owner. He knows what's up, and he's going to work with you personally to find the best unit to fit your needs. Rich is also, keep this in mind, if you're a GLer, you got to let him know, because he's offered GLers some deals that others just might not know about. That includes 15% off all quick combination and key vaults, a must for every home that has handguns and children or frequent grandchildren, nieces, nephews, etc. You get the drift. Check out the President's Day sale at Maple Grove Lock and Safe, 6901 East Fish Lake Road. And like I mentioned, the website, maplegrovelockandsafe.com.
There's a front page story on the Star Tribune today that really intrigued me, and it's a proposed bill in the legislature that would give the White Earth Band of Ojibwe would give them land back. It would give them the state-owned 160,000-acre White Earth State Forest, and this would be given to the tribe by 2029. I'm unfamiliar with the White Earth State Forest.
I
It
can
would be south and west of Bemidji.
Yeah, I would call it more west. It's between Highway 2 on the north and 200 on the south. And yeah, just slightly south, but mostly west of Bemidji, correct.
It includes parts of Mahnomen, Becker, and Clearwater County. Well, here's what intrigued me about this. This is proposed by State Senator Mary Kunesh, DFL New Brighton, and Representative Aisha Gomez, DFL Minneapolis. They put forward a bill that would give state-owned portions of the 160,000-acre White Earth State Forest to the tribe by 2029. The proposal would also give the White Earth Band the right of first refusal to buy any tax-forfeited land in the forest. This is an acknowledgement of White Earth Nation's sovereignty and their inherent right to manage their lands as best as they see fit, said Kunish, who was a Standing Rock Lakota descendant. Tribe Chair Michael Fairbanks did not return phone calls seeking comment. He recently thanked Gomez on Facebook, saying the bill will return 155,000 acres of our homeland. Okay, here's what intrigued me. This is just, they didn't consult anybody.
I know.
They didn't talk to the DNR. They didn't talk to the local communities. They didn't do anything. These two urban legislators, both Mysterians, just came up with the idea that let's just give this land back to the white earth. Now, there might be a great deal of merit in considering that, and what would the result be, and how would this work? But none of that seems to have been part of this decision-making process. They just, out of whole cloth, said, "Hey, let's give this 100, add 60,000 acres to Mille Lacs. It'd be that size. Let's give this 160,000 acres back to the Ojibwe." Okay, to what end?
It's about 155 out of 160, but yeah, I get the gist. But you're right, urban Mysterians writing the bill. That's incredible.
Minnesota Department of Natural Resources leaders said they couldn't say exactly how much land would be transferred.
I don't know
anything about this.
A lot of roads in there too.
They don't know. They don't know what would happen to 65 miles of roads and 70 miles of public trails.
I don't know.
Hell if I know. What is it? No.
We're aware of the bill.
Where'd you hear this anyway?
They say, well, we weren't consulted or involved. Eric Evans, a spokesman for the DNR, said, we're seeking information from the bill author. Well, that would be Aisha Gomez and Kuna. I'm sorry, let's get her name correctly. The bill's authors are
Aisha Gomez
and Mary Kunish. Mary's a descendant of the Lakota. Okay, but no one has. They just came up with this. They didn't talk to anybody. There's roads in there. There's private homes. There's towns. There's public trails. It's a state park. So I guess what would happen? I guess they would still. The public apparently, did they consider the public?
No, not whatsoever. Here's where I'm at. Before they shouldn't have written the bill at all. They should have started discussion. That's what we need. We need discussion, and a lot of it, because the park is within the reservation, or most of it is. Okay, so it's worthy of discussion. But like you said, there's homeowners, there's landowners, home and highways.
Home and landowners who live in or near White Earth State Forest said they are worried they could lose access not just to hunting and recreation grounds, but to their properties if public roads are closed or transferred. It's a question we have, said Dan Wilson, who lives on the shore of Long Lost Lake at the edge of the state forest. I'd like the state to research this thoroughly, so if anything moves forward, it's done with deliberation and input and concern for all people in the area. What a novel concept. Wow. The ideal would be we could work together to make sure this wonderful place is accessible and taken care of. Well, no kidding. You two crackpots, you two urban ne'er-do-wells, you just came up with this and just said, let's throw this at the wall and see if it sticks. This is what we're led by. This is why nobody apparently has really cared how they vote. You just end up with characters like this who, this is a complete violation of anything that would even reasonably approach legislative contemplation. There's been no effort on the part of the bill's authors to wonder what the ramifications of this would be.
I believe when asked, the direct quote was, details.
Kunish, who was the first Indigenous woman to serve in the state Senate, which is also important to be the first.
Yeah, got it.
First of anything is Trump's competence. Absolutely. You just got to be the first. Said the tribe has assured her that the land will continue to be open for all hunting and fishing. So she either got an email or a phone call and said, don't worry about it.
It's just
Read the next two paragraphs there where you left off.
There will not be any taking of private land. They're not going to cut off access to any road, she said. You know what, though, Kunish? We don't know that.
She said, keep going.
She said the bill will be amended to say that White Earth State Forest will remain open to recreational activities.
Here's what I'm seeing. A few people sitting around a fire, each of them about 4 to 7 drinks in. Spitball and bullshit.
Yep.
That's what this is. No, I got it. That's covered. Don't worry about it.
Not natives,
nonsense.
not natives sitting around the fire. Legislators.
No, urban Mysterians.
Urban Mysterians.
Yeah.
Who are at the cutting edge of this preposterous idea that we should stop and pause before everything to note that we're on stolen land. I think, Kenny, didn't you see that on the back of a bus?
That was actually our buddy Tom, who was down visiting his kid, and he's on 46, and it looked like Hiawatha to me, or Minnehaha down by the park. And I guess there's bus signs now.
It's on the back of the bus. It says, "Let us remember we are on stolen land." Well, then get the damn bus off the street.
Joe, we need to give back the entire state of Minnesota. Well, you know what? All 48 states need to go back.
Don't for a minute think this isn't what this is.
And that's why these two urban Mysterians are throwing this up against the wall, because it's already happened with the Upper Sioux Agency. Mm-hmm. They shut down that state park. And after last month, the middle of last month, you can't get in. It's closed. No more.
Mm-hmm.
1,400 acres there.
I think people would certainly be accepting of
talking about
discussions.
Yeah. The adult thing, the adult approach.
But you two crackpots who just think this is the way to go, it's not the way to go.
Quick, Joe, it's a Democratic controlled House and Senate.
So, because I don't remember if this was an on-air or off-air, the quote from the one resident in the area talking about it being closed now to the public, but that took place, correct, already? Is that what you said, Kenny?
Oh, yeah. Upper Sioux Agency closed last month.
Okay. So that going to happen regardless of this, or did that happen because
that
this was coming?
That was just part of the deal. I'm saying that our two urban Mysterians saw that passed and it went through, and they're like, okay, well, let's move on to Upper White Earth, just White Earth, and then they're going to move to the next one and the next one.
Well, here it is. Last year, lawmakers voted to close Upper Sioux Agency State Park in southwestern Minnesota and return the land to the Dakota. That transfer, though, involved a much smaller piece of land, 1,400 acres, which is nothing in a earth this size, and did not include as many roads, trails, or other public amenities. And then we get to the part where, well, now you transfer this kind of ideology or this thinking to the White Earth, and that's where you get home and landowners who live in or near White Earth State Forest saying, well, wait a minute, what about our access to hunting, recreation in our own damn house? If you close the public roads, and then we get the crackpots don't know what to do at this point. So the newspaper found somebody to quote that said, oh, don't worry about it. We're not going to do that. Well, we don't know what you're going to do because you haven't done any adult planning.
You refuse to answer questions.
So we don't know. They didn't even get a call back from the tribal chairman.
No.
The tribal chairman might think this is stupid. We don't know.
But there's no denying that the natives were done wrong and played for suckers when these treaties were signed in the 1800s. And a lot of them, we went back on them and, went back on our word and stole land. But a lot of time has passed, and there's been a lot of development and a lot of people living there. And if you're going to throw something out like this is years of discussion. You can't just throw a bill out like this and hope to sneak it through.
It would be a great way for the Mysterians to, with one broad stroke, end a great part of Minnesota life, which is all the people who own Lakeshore in this state.
Yeah.
It would just be in one fell swoop. They could eliminate that. And think how much they could save the earth by getting rid of all those motorboats with their gasoline. And this could go on forever.
And to me, what you just said sounds absurd, but you got to know that's the plan.
Nothing is absurd anymore, Kenny.
Thank
That's
you.
the problem.
Yes. Yeah,
Nothing
that's
is
the point.
absurd anymore with these people.
The
Nothing.
absurd is the new norm. Yep.
So put that into perspective, because you use Mille Lacs, right?
Well, Mille Lacs, I just roughly call Mille Lacs 100,000 acres.
So here's what I did. I just quickly looked up how many, and this usually gets us into trouble, so I'm being very careful, but I looked it up. How many acres is St. Paul? And it gave me St. Paul is 56 square miles, roughly.
Right.
And 160,000 acres is roughly 250 square miles.
Okay. It's a big
It's
area.
a huge chunk of land.
I mean, they started with 1,400 acres in the Sioux Park.
You know,
And now what the hell? Look at this white earth deal. Let's, and they just out of the blue, they came up with this.
So that's 5 times, basically the 5 times
Listen,
the size
you
of St. Paul.
dummies. I'm going to throw something at you.
Talk to me.
Cold Spring, whatever the hell it's called there in South Minneapolis, and the rivers, the Minnesota River and the Mississippi, where they meet, they're below Fort Snelling. Native Americans have been meeting there and trading there peaceably for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years before white men came along. We need to give all of Minneapolis, St. Paul, hell, the 7-county whole area back to the natives.
The University of Minnesota is on native land.
Everything, all of Minneapolis, all of St. Paul, all of the suburbs, it all needs to go back. And let's write the bill. It needs to happen this year.
Do you think they'll look at the dysfunction and go, keep it?
Now, as absurd as that
There's
sounds,
nothing absurd, Kenny.
you know they're thinking about
There's
it.
nothing absurd anymore. These
I
are
say
people
from
that are intending to destroy
Joe.
this country and have a new country.
let's do it all, Atlantic to the Pacific. Let's do it all.
See
and
the
all of
shining
Alaska.
sea?
Absolutely.
Waves of grain,
Absolutely.
Is it amber?
Do it
amber
all.
waves of grain.
That's right.
What the hell kind of grain was I
It's
thinking?
Vikings. You're thinking football.
You want to take a white privilege test? Well, first we're going to have a brief newscast from John Haidt.
Okay.
All right.
Brief. Why didn't you tell me that before I got up at 7 o'clock to write it?
Yeah, you're all right. Save it for tomorrow.
Yeah, it's day old news.
Nothing. Who cares?
Here's yesterday's news today with John Haidt.
Yesterday's news.
By the time I get the newspaper,
Look at this. A lot of color on this.
lot of
Lot of details.
yeah.
Jeez.
By the time I get the newspaper for my guy, it might as well be yesterday's news.
Yeah.
I don't have that problem, see, because I do
I
it
know.
online.
It'd be 4 times the size of St. Paul. Well, a little over 4.
That's okay, Chris.
Well, that puts it in a greater
it
perspective,
does.
doesn't it?
It does. 160,000 acres is a lot of land.
Nothing to sneeze at is what you're
No,
saying.
no.
This Aisha is way over the top on everything.
Yep.
Aisha Gomez.
I'm stunned by that
Yep.
development. Hold on one
Where
second.
does she? What does she represent? Who does she represent, John?
She represents the
Shit.
District
Darn it.
60,
Okay, there it is.
62A, which includes parts of Minneapolis. That's all it says. And she, she's regularly around 95% of the vote. So,
Lifetime activist.
yeah, she was first elected in 2018. Before that, she went to school at the U of M and has a BS in environmental science.
Which you can't flunk.
She was a senior policy aide. Remember Alondra Cano, the city council? She was a senior policy aide to Alondra.
Well, as a country, it's the voters' fault. We've given away the country.
She only had 98% of the vote last election.
Jesus.
She had 90 in 2020 and 92% in 2018. So she didn't run against anybody last time. The other 2 years there were
They didn't
people
even
running
bother.
against her. They did the first 2 years run against her, but they got 7 and 8% respectively.
All right. Are we ready here?
Yeah.
Reavers is doing something.
Yeah.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
Well, based upon what Joe's been telling us the last couple of weeks, it's time to get your affairs in order. So go with the best. Switch from your big national bank and switch to my friends at North American Banking Company. It's banking done differently. I have made the switch, and I know that if you do as well, you will be very happy. Whether you're a business owner looking for adjusting with your family's finances, it doesn't matter. They get it. They realize that there's no shortage of banking options in the Twin Cities. So if you're tired of just being a number to your big national bank, then check out my friends at North American Banking Company. They've been at it since 1998, and they made a promise to deliver a better banking experience for their customers where you know your banker and they know you. And while a lot has changed since then, this commitment to being a true community bank in the Twin Cities, that has not. They have 6 locations: Roseville, 50th in France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, and their new location in Maple Grove. They offer the same online and mobile banking options as the other banks, but you are going to get the unparalleled service of a community bank. Visit their website today, nabankco.com, to learn more. That's nabankco.com. North American Banking Company, member FDIC, is an equal housing lender. Joe?
Here's John Haidt.
Thank you, Joe. This news is brought to you by North American Banking Company. It's Super Tuesday. Presidential primaries in lots of places, including right here in Minnesota. The polls in Minnesota close at 8. If you get in line before 8, you can vote. Latest poll done by our colleagues downstairs at KSTP and Survey USA says that 63% say they are either certain or probably voting in the primary today in Minnesota. 43% of likely primary voters say they plan to vote in the Republican primary. 38% plan to vote in the Democratic primary. 18% say they're not certain about which primary they'll vote in. On the Republican ballot, 79% of those responding say they'll vote for Donald Trump, 15% for Nikki Haley, 3% supporting another candidate, and 4% undecided. In the Democratic primary, 76% said they'll vote for Joe Biden, 7% for Dean Phillips, 6% for another candidate, and 10% undecided.
If I remember this afternoon, I might as well vote because it won't be a hassle. Nobody will be there.
Right.
Minnesota
Vote off.
Minnesota House of Representatives passed changes to the state's updated school resource law yesterday, sending the bill to the Senate for consideration. This is more than 6 months after all that controversy over the new law started. The issue still remaining one of the key topics at the legislature. A DFL-authored bill moved through the House of Representatives committees and passed a floor vote yesterday with all but 8 lawmakers voting in favor. Several GOP lawmakers have also introduced their version of a fix for the SRO law, although it hasn't advanced anywhere in the DFL-controlled legislature. The main difference between the DFL and GOP bills is that the DFL bill would require law enforcement agencies with an SRO program to have a written SRO policy. The GOP bill does not include that requirement, but features training reimbursement for agencies. Some groups have also defended the current law, opposed a fix to clarify the law, saying SROs shouldn't be able to restrain students unless there's a threat of imminent danger. But law enforcement agencies, remember, suspended the programs amid questions over the updated law. Ramsey County plan could see streetcars returning to St. Paul streets. Right now, there are 3 options for a proposal to better connect West 7th Street with Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport and the Mall of America. 2 of those options are for streetcars, and each has a preliminary cost estimate of over $2 billion.
That's with a B.
And that'll just be the same situation, having the light rail.
What's wrong with buses?
Nothing. And there is a bus proposal, which is much cheaper and much quicker.
The third option, as Joe just said, is a bus rapid transit line with a cost of about $121 million, which is considerably less than $2 billion.
I'm even questioning the bus proposal. Why not just crank out a few more buses and keep just what the hell? What's going on here?
Because good leadership fails to realize that not spending money is important.
I don't take delight in your plight, Joe. But I'm just curious with this Would this help maybe with your commute to the station every day?
Wouldn't affect me.
Could you drive down to the streetcar, then take that to the light rail and drop you off right here?
I guess you could. The streetcar.
They don't intersect.
No, the streetcar would be independent of the light rail lines.
I see. Okay.
The back to Joe's money point, Ramsey County Commissioner Rafael Ortega said the cost would be paid by Ramsey County, and the other half the cost would be paid by Ramsey County. The other half would come from the federal government.
Well, the federal government doesn't have any money. That's your money.
Yes, exactly.
Are the buses overflowing now with people from West 7th going to the airport?
I've yet to see someone standing on the corner of 7th and Randolph, for example, clutching a suitcase and
that's
saying,
what I'm thinking.
I guess I can't get to Los Angeles today. I have no way to get to the airport.
You got the roller, you got
never
the carry-on.
Yeah, you're waiting and there's no train. I guess I can't go to the airport.
So what you're saying is, I don't ride the streetcar, but if I did,
right? Jeez, it's just a shame.
Yeah,
Beep, beep.
It's just a shame.
It's that trolley on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Yes!
Ding, ding,
Oh
ding,
my
ding,
God,
ding,
it
ding.
is.
I don't know.
Hanging onto the side of
No, the streetcars would look like mini light rail trains.
They're enclosed,
and it'd be a shorter. It'd be like 3 cars instead of 8 or whatever the hell they got now that are empty.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if we have a break scheduled here. Can we take a quick break?
We do not.
Can't. I need to take a break. I'm sorry.
Johnny,
I'll explain when I come back. How's that?
Okay.
Is that all right?
That's
a bit of an
fine.
emergency in there.
Let's see what happens here.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Maybe he has to go to the bat room.
There's one or two reasons. One of two. Yeah.
It's either 1 or 2.
Yeah. Somebody's knocking on somebody's door.
But that can't be federal money. That's why they're trying to shove this blue line down our throat, because that's federal money.
God.
So what's the urgency? Just to spend it because we got it?
I can count on my skin color not to work against the appearance of my financial reliability.
So you're taking the test.
What does that even mean?
I don't count on my skin color to ensure my financial reliability. That's not what I count on. I count on good investments.
I don't.
It's a British written test by a white woman.
I can't answer that question if I don't understand it.
I can go shopping alone and be sure that I won't be followed or harassed. Well, not in San Francisco. You'd have to be accompanied by a clerk of the store to make sure that you aren't going to get mugged.
I've been to so many hardware stores in South Minneapolis where you get followed around. That's why they always come to you when you're walking in. Can I help you?
Mm-hmm.
So they can keep an eye on you.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell them, well, you can't, but that dude over there can.
At Frats, I've gotten to know certain people who work there that I know they know where stuff is. So I go to them.
There's a hardware store in Alexandria that is absolutely incredible. One of the best. And I'm always going there for very rare nuts and bolts that my hardware store wouldn't have in town here, Fleet Farm wouldn't have. As soon as I walk in the door, I put my arm up like I'm hailing a cab.
Right.
It's like, come on, no nuts and bolts. I'll meet you over there.
Yep.
Otherwise, I'm in there for 10 minutes looking.
Do you have any Chrome stuff?
Yeah, they've got everything there,
rare.
Joe. It's amazing.
Oh, I forgot to tell you guys. Oh, hi, John.
Hi.
You okay?
I'm fine. It wasn't me. It's Dill. He's having some issues. He basically so dizzy he can't stand up.
I'll be damned.
And he doesn't know why.
Keep it brief today.
Well, that needs to be taken care of.
Are we on the air?
Yes, we talked, and he's sitting and waiting. So he doesn't know if
Somebody's
it's
shouting
from working out. No, he's not. I mean, he's not having a heart attack or anything. He just his equilibrium is just messed up as hell.
I'll tell you what that is, John. It's probably inner ear.
That's what I said, actually.
That's what you had, right?
I have that.
You had the inner
Every
ear
once in a while, everything starts going around and comes down, goes around.
So are we just going to wrap her up, or are you going back
No,
to
let's
Johnny?
go here.
Well,
John's up.
Yeah, it's fine. He's sitting down. He's
sorry for asking.
Got another 10 minutes.
Okay.
So are we doing news here or no?
I was
Something
trying
else?
to get that information out of
We
Joe,
don't know.
but I got yelled at.
Okay,
all we know is that we're hurrying up and going. That's all we know.
It's Wing It Wednesday.
We can be done with John. We can be done with John.
Okay.
The hell with John.
Let us know.
I'm glad I got up at 7, you bastards.
Well, you probably have some stuff that'll hang over.
Ooh, the Twins game's on.
Already?
The earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
Well, continuing our talk about money. The park board in Minneapolis spent $750,000 to produce 1 week of skating ice. But I see a problem here that could have saved them the $750,000.
Do ya?
Mm-hmm. For almost 2 months, park workers got up before dawn to flood the 45 ice rinks in parks throughout Minneapolis, only to see their work melt away in the daytime. Isn't that the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different
I'm
result?
picturing the guy with the garden hose. You know, he's got her. It's already 36 degrees, you know, at 8:45 in the morning.
And you got to hand it to them. They stuck with it.
Did they look at the forecast?
Apparently
at all?
not. They stuck with it until a proper freeze finally arrived near the end of January, and you got a week. Lindale Farmstead in South Minneapolis opened on Jan 17, followed by every other rink for the next 3 days. But the cold didn't last. Almost as soon as the skaters laced up, the ice melted again. Within a week, all rinks were slush. The cost for 8 days of outdoor skating, hockey, and broomball was $750,187, or about $95,000 per day. This is according to the Star Tribune.
Wow.
Now some parks leaders are pondering the future of the city's much-loved outdoor rink system in a warming climate because they understand we don't
Ever.
have winter
This is
anymore.
it.
Yeah.
Ever.
Last year we had winter,
Got it.
but there'll
Yeah.
be no more winters. So
No more.
maybe
Gone.
you could figure out how to save that $750,000. Becky Alper, she's a parks commissioner, said, "I think this is a wake-up call. No, I think you should have told your guys to stand down when the weather temperature says it's going to be 45 degrees the next day. Don't get up at 4 a.m. to flood. You could have saved yourself some dough.
$750,000's a lot of money too.
Let's plan so we're better serving the public. Well, you can't serve the public if you're trying to create an ice rink and it's not cold. Then don't bother. You're not serving the public. Alper herself is an ice skater. And she's asked the board's recreation committee to gather data, including how much the system spends on ice rinks annually for how many days of use. That'd be a lot of money if you got ice all year long.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Was that, well, obviously it's compensation for employees and whatnot, but
Amazing.
And of course, the record-breaking temperatures were caused by climate change. It's just a given now in most newspapers, particularly the Star Tribune. They throw in El Nino, but the record-breaking temperatures were caused by climate change and El Nino. They're admitting that this year's temperature should not be the benchmark for any kind of year-to-year prediction.
Oh, really?
But the state is steadily warming, with climate patterns morphing to resemble Iowa's. Okay, apparently they don't have outdoor skating in Iowa.
Tell me that again next year when it's 32 below for 3 weeks
Or
straight.
this April when you could get about 3 blizzards back to back.
You see deeper in the story, they're talking about instead of cutting back, spending actually more money and getting refrigerated rinks.
Oh yeah.
So that's not going to cost $750,000.
Oh boy. Alper and Commissioner Billy Menz have suggested that park staff consider the feasibility of incorporating refrigerated rinks into new plans. I've been really pushing the board that if we're going to act boldly for climate change, we have to act boldly in the area of recreation. And this is a place where we could do that, said Menz, because without acting boldly, we're going to have no ice to skate on.
wait a minute.
Now, I noticed, I'll get to you in a moment in the back. I noticed that maybe St. Paul was a bit brighter than Minneapolis. because I know I monitor the Groveland rink all summer long. They put up two great rinks winter long, and they put up two great rinks. Somebody, some kind-hearted soul's got his own Zamboni and the whole deal. They never once flooded Groveland this year.
They probably looked at the forecast.
No, maybe once they did. I shouldn't say they never, but they didn't repeatedly get up at 4 a.m, knowing damn well it would be gone by 2:00 in the afternoon. So I'm not reading this type of story in St. Paul.
Do you think? I got my tinfoil hat on.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that this was done intentionally?
No, they're not that smart.
Do you drive by Des Noyer
Yes.
on Pelham?
Yes.
Did they flood that?
I don't. That was flooded, but I don't think repeatedly. I think they caught on.
I was down there, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't the 14th, February 10th. What doesn't matter. The Diamond Lake rink, not only was it not flooded, but the boards had been taken down already. And then we drove past where I used to live, Sibley Park, and we lived there starting in 96 or 7 through just 2000, what was it, guys? 21 that I moved?
21, yeah, 3 years ago.
Listen to this.
And Joe, some years, Sibley didn't have ice at all.
Right.
Some years it was great. It was all winter. And some years it was half a month. It varies every single year.
Refrigerated rinks would cost $6 to $8 million, and that would include a canopy to provide ice extending shade. So what do you got? 45 parks with rinks?
Oof.
What if you put a refrigerated rink in each park? What's 6 times 45?
Who's 70?
6 times 5 that's 200. That'd be $250 million.
Yikes.
Look at the picture on the jump.
Mm-hmm. I just have a printed copy in front of me. I don't have the picture.
The guy, Minneapolis Park Board employee Sean, in shorts, sprays the ice rink at McCrae Park in late December. Okay, let's just think about
Let's
that.
analyze that for a minute.
Yeah,
Look,
yeah,
Al, if you're in shorts,
Trying
to freeze a rink, you're forgetting a step. You're forgetting what the temperature should be.
I didn't see that.
And people in Minneapolis should react in horror and comedy at this. I'm afraid they won't. But you're telling me that every night at 10 o'clock you'd realize when you went to bed that it was going to be 45 degrees the next day, but you still got up at 4 a.m. to flood the rink.
Hey,
what the hell's wrong with you?
they got a job to do.
Yeah,
They're committed to the bit.
it's like being in the Army. Everything's FUBAR. It's just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
You
won't
who
have
gets
time for the white privilege test today. We're going to take it tomorrow.
Oh, after
only
all
been doing
that,
this
you're not
hour.
going to give
You know
it?
who gets it right with ice rinks, Joe?
Huh.
It's the mom and dads that put them in their backyard. And what do? They put down a layer of plastic, creating a bowl-like surface. So when the ice melts, the water stays put.
There's a refrigerated rink in St. Paul at the corner of Jefferson and Victoria.
Yeah.
And I didn't see that getting much use this year.
Yeah.
But that and this is the way it's going to be from now on. They're never going to be winter.
Yeah,
again.
there's no more winter.
No more outdoor
No more
skating.
winter. And it will never snow in the Sierras again after this year. We had our last winter last year. Apparently California is getting its last winter this year.
Hey,
Okay.
did you do ice outs today? Was I not paying attention? Because the lake I live on here, it's an environmental lake.
Oh.
The ice went out on Sunday.
I don't count your
The,
lake.
the ice is out, so that's the official
I'm
ice.
glad you mentioned that, Kenny. We got an email from Mr. B yesterday around 3:00. Joe, just want to let you know you're in Palmer Township on Rush Lake.
Yep.
We had an ice out.
Yeah, well, that's
Yep.
fine. That's fine, but
Yep.
I don't
That
care
counts.
about your lake.
That
does
counts.
not count.
We care, Palmer or Jim. Oh, who was it?
Mr.
Steve?
B. Mr.
Mr.
B.
B. we
Palmer?
Outstate lakes I'll accept are Gull, Leech, and Mille Lacs.
The lakes Joe has been to.
Right.
He can find them on a map. So
I don't want some rinky-dink pothole calling me up and telling me that the ice is off our pond.
gljoe@garagelogic.com.
Yeah, I wonder if I could time in the town.
My garage door guy is the whole family. Precision Garage Door of the Twin Cities in western Wisconsin. couple of interesting points about these guys. They're a GL or own family. They're a GL family that is the operation of Precision Garage Door, but they don't charge more for weekend visits. That's crucial because a lot of times garage doors pick the wrong times to go out. And they most often have the parts they need in the truck, so you're not going to get that spiel about, damn it, I'm almost done, but I got to run back downtown or wherever the headquarters is to get a bolt. Oftentimes I'll say, well, here, I have bolts. Let's look through them, but that doesn't save any time. They'll save you the time. They want to get the job done the first time. They do the rollers and springs and openers. They'll fix the app on your phone or show you how to get it. They'll do a new garage door with your consultation. You can pick out a great garage door. They're really, really good people. Put this telephone into your, put this number into your telephone contacts. 612-263-6985. Or find these great people at precisiondoormn.com. That's precisiondoormn.com. We don't need another break, do we?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So I can tell you that only because they come to us from worldwidewaftage.com, the traveling Lymans who are currently holed up in Lake Las Vegas, Nevada.
They've been there for a while.
Well, soon to split for other environs. It was on this day,
March 5th, sir.
in 1814, Norman W. Kitson was born in Sorel, Canada. When he arrived in Minnesota in 1834, Kitson made money by developing trade between St. Paul and the Red River and served as a legislator and as mayor of St. Paul. Late in life, he built a mansion in St. Paul. I don't know where that would be. On a trail that led to town. To accommodate those accustomed to following the trail, Kitson left his front and back doors open for people to pass through. Well, now I know where it was. The Cathedral of St. Paul was later built on the site.
What year was that?
1814.
You know, in
In
1814,
later years, he did that.
we took a little trip along with Colonel Jackson down
That's
the mighty
right.
Mississippi.
On
Took
this
a little
day,
bacon, took a little beans.
that's right, John.
Fought the
On
bloody
this
British
day-
in the town of New Orleans.
On this
Well,
day,
we fired our guns and the British kept it coming.
they did keep coming, yes. On this day in 1852, farmers in Benton County,
That was brilliant.
from the state's first county agricultural society, Oliver H. Kelly, who later found the National Grange, was one of 10 charter members. They shared information about seeds, fruit, and farming. That's what happened there. And then the very next year on this day, 1853, Minnesota's territorial legislature incorporated the St. Paul Mutual Insurance Company, forerunner of the giant St. Paul companies, the state's oldest business operation.
Wow.
And I'm going to skip that one. There's too many counties. On this day in 2020,
Yes.
this is an important one that affected us all.
March. Oh, was this the shutdown?
On this day, what is it, March 5th?
March 5th. No, it was
The
later than
first
this.
confirmed case of COVID-19
Yeah.
in Minnesota was reported.
in Carver County, was it?
And
not?
then everything went to hell.
Yeah,
Everything
Boy.
went to hell.
that was 4 years ago.
And there are people, I see them every day, still wearing masks.
But we live and let live in GL.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's GLers. I'm sorry for the short show, but I got to get my foot checked out. I made the appointment 3-4 months ago. It's the only time I can see the guy. So see you later. See you tomorrow. I have my foot amputated. I don't know.
Oh,
There's
that'd be
a piece
bad.
in the paper
But
today.
you can let the GLers know that if a procedure has to take place, you will hold off until the golf season's over.
I don't know what we're going to find that out today. How many weeks? Here's the key. How many weeks does the mayor have to be off his feet? Because I have a number in mind. Anything over that, I can't do it.
What about getting work? That's what I'm concerned about.
They got papers.
Can you wear black socks over a wooden peg? I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
you can.
Okay, good.
Wow,
Jeez, Joe.
that was very funny.
Sorry.
There was a piece in the paper today about a woman. Was it in the paper?
Yeah, she's all better now.
And she had her foot amputated due to pain.
Her
because
name
of-
was Peg, right?
I don't know. she She's all set now.
Hey,
boy.
full show video and audio is waiting for you to sign up for a town council
Got my
membership.
peg on.
If I get one of those fake ones, I want that big spring foot.
Right.
You know, that leaping
The
around.
bionic foot.
Yeah, you know the drill. GarageLogic.com. Sign up for the town
So-
council.
Does that mean you'd be pegged?
That's right, Kenny.
Wow.
That's terrible.
We'll see you later.
Boy, over now, huh? Oh, God.
You can just
You
edit
gotta
that
hurry up
out.
here, Chris.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
You
Is
got
it called the White Earth State Park?
Correct.
Do you
You ready,
realize that
Chris?
you and Patrick are the only ones that have mentioned the ant story in town?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is hilarious. Joe, I am ready for you.
Minnesota legislators
Yep.
proposed to give back to the White Earth Band of Ojibwe
Back to the
It's the
White.
White Earth State Forest.
I got it.
White Earth Band
Of Ojibwe.
Of O
O-J-I-B-W-E.
BWE, right? Okay. Is band capitalized?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Read the sentence again.
Okay. So far, I've got Minnesota legislators proposed to give back to the White Earth Band of Ojibwe.
The 160,000 acre.
155.
Okay. 155,000 acre dash acre.
1,000 dash acre.
Yep.
Yep.
White Earth State Forest.
White Earth.
And John goes to the bathroom.
God, hit the caps lock. Okay, White Earth State
This is like sitting at the.
Forest.
Did you guys think I had an emergency there?
Yeah,
Is
we
that
thought
what
you
you're
had to go
thinking?
Yeah,
No.
got a
Minneapolis.
turtle head.
Minneapolis spent
Yep.
$750,000
$750,000.
for 1 week
Yep.
of outdoor skating.
Okay. I didn't know the thing about because I read it online, Kenny. I didn't see the photo of the guy in the shorts.
Isn't that fantastic?
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
hilarious.
New tales, Tales,
Yep.
of light rail experience.
Okay.
John Haidt.
Had to go poop.
No, he didn't.
Okay.
We'll be back tomorrow.
John, don't forget to send me
Chris, I just sent you 3, and because I only did, I think 3 stories, I sent you the Red
You
Earth
sent
story.
me the
too.
3 stories that you did.
Yes, that and the Red Earth story.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
How
Or Red Earth? White Earth.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah, I knew what I
Hey,
meant.
boys, I'll see you tomorrow.
Hopefully everything
See you,
goes
Joe.
well at the foot
What
doctor.
are we going to do? You know, gotta find this stuff out.
That foot's been up Rook's ass so many times, she's got to get operated on.
All right, I'm going to go see what's
Well,
going on.
hopefully everything's okay with Dill.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just, I had the same thing a couple of years ago. Crystals got screwed up in my ear, and every time I moved my head, it was like the earth was spinning.
Oh, shit.
So I'm sure it's the same thing.
Okay. Well, good luck.
I will see you tomorrow.
Bye, Johnny.
Bye-bye.